Hi, my name's Jim Harris. I'm the Associate Director of the Autism Training Center at Marshall University. We've collaborated with the West Virginia Department of Education's Office of Special Education and Student Support to create the West Virginia Behavior and Mental Health Technical Assistance Center. We're excited to continue that collaboration as we partner with Public Broadcasting and WVDE to help provide information to families during the challenging time of the COVID-19 pandemic. In this video, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, which is how do we build responsibility into our child's day? Now, why is that such an important conversation? Why is building responsibility such an important thing? Because ultimately, the goal of parenting isn't just to raise children, but to develop functional adults. And one of the key things in helping us develop the competency of our own children is to slowly through childhood give them the opportunity to take on developmentally appropriate responsibility and build their competency. So when I start talking about things like chores and things like that, we got to first start with, why are chores important? Why is responsibility important to be an essential part of your child's day? And again, a developmentally appropriate responsibility. Well, if we're thinking that chores are for kids to pay the price, or because we want to break them down with different tasks and things like that, we're missing the point of the importance of chores. There's two main reasons why responsibility is such a critical part of our child's daily life. The first one is competency. Now, what do we mean by competency? Competency is the feeling and the satisfaction when you know you're capable of doing something. So, if we look at the main goal of parenting, the main goal of child development, it is to develop into a functional adult. It's to develop into a person who can contribute to society. So if we're looking at that as a key outcome, or kind of beginning with the end in mind, then what our job is in child development is to provide children experiences to build competency, to build ability to deal with things, solve problems, develop skills. So competency comes from being given a responsibility, being given support in how to uphold or meet that responsibility, and then have mastery over that responsibility or task. So when we look at what chores represent, it's the opportunity to develop mastery over responsibility. And for kids, that becomes a key part of self-confidence, or self-esteem, self-concept. These things that help them in their future life. The second thing that makes having responsibility a part of a child's daily life so important is the ability to add value to others around you. So what chores offer is the opportunity to add value to the family, to add value to school, to add value to the community. So when we give a child responsibility, what we're saying is you're a meaningful part of this group, this family, this classroom, this community. And too often with kids, we talk about what everybody does for them. And if we allow that to be the primary focus, then that creates a very one-sided psychology for kids, meaning they just expect to be taken care of. They just expect things to be done for them, when what we really want to develop a more balanced person, a more psychologically balanced, a more healthy psychology, is a young person who not only understands that people do things for them, but they do things for others. So chores give our kids an opportunity to add value to others in their life. Now, make no mistake about it, I'm not telling you that, although we just said that chores are so developmentally important, don't expect your kids to be super excited because you're going to give them more responsibility and give them more chores. That being said, I have had a lot of kids, and when they get the opportunity to, say for example, learn to mow grass or pick out their own clothes or whatever that developmentally appropriate responsibility or task may be, where they immediately have that interest, they immediately have that sense of self-confidence or that rise in their self-esteem. So there will be times when kids getting that added responsibility, getting that added chore or task is going to actually immediately bolster their psychology. Now, but there's also going to be times when you give that responsibility and the kid's not going to be excited. And that's just part of child development. I'll think back to my own childhood. When I was mowing grass, I didn't pop out of bed when I was 14 years old and say, hey, Dad, I'm excited to go mow grass today and grow personally. No, but I'll tell you one thing. I promise you that when I finished mowing that grass, there were several times when I would look at that yard and feel the satisfaction that I did that. So keep in mind that just because kids aren't immediately seeing the value in the task or chore, don't let that discourage you. Understand that you're playing the long game here. The first place to start when thinking about a chore for your child or responsibility to integrate into your child's daily routine is this chore or responsibility developmentally appropriate? Taking into consideration my child's age, intellectual ability, physical ability, is this a good chore that fits my child? If you need help figuring out what chores might be developmentally appropriate for your child, there's a lot of great resources online and also some really good ideas on social media apps such as Pinterest. Here are a few ideas you might consider for your kids. One of my favorites is having your child help take care of the family pet. This chore is great for a number of reasons. One of which is it teaches your child the experience of having another living thing that counts on them. Another is it scales really well with age, for young kids can be a part in a small way and older kids could take almost full responsibility for the care of the family pet. Another great chore is having your child help with their own laundry. This is another one that scales really well by age and developmental ability. Everything from your child just helping carry things down or sorting by color, even to having full responsibility as they get older for the days they do their laundry and having their clothes clean and ready to go for school that week. Dishes are another great chore to consider. I like dishes because they also scale well in developmental ability and age. It can start with very basic things like helping sort silverware, rinsing off dishes, putting certain cabinets away, all the way to being a more advanced chore where the child takes almost full responsibility for the chore of dishes each day. Another great chore is yard work. Now, before we go too much further, yard work, it's important that we keep an eye on safety, especially with younger children and equipment that can be dangerous. Yard work's one of my favorites because 1, it gets kids outside, 2, it gets kids moving, and 3, it also gives kids an opportunity to collaborate and solve problems on projects together with the whole family. I hope you found this video helpful. I want to remind you that it's critical that we find ways to build responsibility in our child's day-to-day lives. Most of all because it helps them develop a sense of competency and mastery and gives them the opportunity to add value in the lives of others. For the most current information regarding the West Virginia Department of Education's response to the COVID-19 crisis, you can go to www.wvde.us/COVID-19. This site also has resources for families as well as educators. For more information regarding the West Virginia Behavior Mental Health Technical Assistance Center, you can go to www.marshall.edu/BMHTAC.